Good morning. Welcome to Books at the Bottom of the Stairs. My name's Lorene. I'm coming to you from my back porch. It's just absolutely beautiful out today, and I really want to enjoy it. So I already taped this once, and the first 5 minutes doesn't have any sound, so I'm going to try and recreate for you what I have been saying, because I wasn't really paying attention to what I was coming out of my mouth, so I hope I can repeat it. Okay, the first book that I was reading, which does not have to do with the Newbery Awards that I'm aware of, maybe, oh no, it's British, it wouldn't have come into the Newbery Award category, so is Oversea and Understone, and it is the first book in a 5-book series, and I spoke about it fairly clearly last video, I believe, and I really enjoyed it. It is definitely a reread for me. This is a great adventure book. There is definitely good kids, innocent kids, with great Uncle Mary, who is maybe a little bit other, maybe a little bit supernatural. That he just brings this other ingredient to the story that allows for the opportunity eventually to have some otherness happening as the story proceeds in the other books. Sorry. So I can't remember exactly what I was saying, except that it was a rollicking good adventure. The kids, they may be representing innocence and the good side of the coin, but that doesn't mean they don't get up to some mischief and shenanigans and into some good trouble. There's definitely each kid has its own storyline, although they stay together as a unit, but they each have their own individual little adventures and misadventures within the pursuit of what turns out to be the Holy Grail. Of course, there's some bad guys who are just simply bad. There's not a lot of development with them, and that's okay, because it's sometimes the adventure is more about figuring out how do you navigate being attached to your morals and principles. You don't really have to think too hard about what the bad side of the coin is. It's quite clear that's not the good side. So I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to book 2, which is The Dark is Rising, and that I'll probably do. I don't know when I'll do that. I'm just going to intersperse it over the course of the summer. Okay, I started to do my project of the Newbery Award winners for 2024 and cleaning up the ones I missed for 2011. And the first one that I read that is a 5 out of 5 for me is Simon Sort of Says by Erin Bow. Now, Erin Bow is for me an automatic read. She is such a good storyteller. I'm pretty sure I have read everything, except possibly the one that won the Governor's General's Award, Stand on the Sky. I have to go back and double check. Did I miss that? This book is about Simon, who was, and it tells it right at the beginning, he was the sole survivor in a school shooting in Omaha, Nebraska. I'm a little distracted. That line right there is the cat. And right now she's fluctuating between deep sun and deep shade. So if you hear a little bell, that's her. Where was it? Okay, so Simon and his parents have moved to Grin and Barrett, Nebraska. That's the name of the town. It is a research community, and there are radio towers around, and they are trying to receive radio transmissions from space. Part of an ongoing project, and so therefore things like internet and even cell phones even microwave ovens are not part of the community. This means that Simon can come in and he's not going to be Googled or Instagrammed or TikToked or any of those other things. He can literally fly below the radar and get on with his life, because everywhere he goes, the media follows. Mom is a funeral director, and so she has purchased a funeral home in town, and Dad is a deacon in the Catholic Church and helps do deacony things. And In the church, there is a family of squirrels, and Dad is using the squirrels as a metaphor for a lot of the liturgy, and it's not going over well. But the squirrels just always seem to do something that resonates with him and whatever the story is for that particular Sunday. So he keeps having to explain himself to his bishop or the priest that he works for, because he's not an actual priest. Deacons are kind of a subcategory and are allowed to be married and have children. Mom's funeral home is pretty successful. She's very good at what she does, and she was doing it in Omaha. So she comes into this town and she's kind of revitalizing this funeral home, except that the guy that works for her is a real screw up and has managed to lose a body. Simon, who the main story is all about, makes friends kind of against his better instincts with a girl called Agate. So all of her brothers and sisters are named things like Onyx and Jasmine and Jasper and just all the different gemstones. And they have a goat farm, and it's baby goat birthing season. The neighbor, Mr. Barnaby Stoke, I think his name is, he has an emu farm, and the emus on occasion seem to escape and cause a lot of mayhem. And oh my goodness, there is such funny things happening with those emus. I think Erin Bow must have just sat down at a bar one night and discovered herself with some emu farmers and picked their brains for a whole bunch of stories. Man, are they funny. Okay, so Simon and Agate had, before Simon had shown up on the scene, had decided that she had this radio transmission that she was going to try and send in when a certain star, Vegas, comes in alignment with her treehouse. And so Simon and she have to obtain a microwave and send these radio transmissions. And Simon doesn't really know what she's talking about. He's not a big science person, and Agate is. And along comes Kevin, whose mom is one of the research scientists at this facility. And he's got a microwave because there's one in the facility. So he manages to, so there's part of the story. We've got to get this microwave. And they don't exactly tell Kevin what's going on because they don't want him to get in trouble with his mom. But Mom has decided Kevin's got to be a scientist, and so she's always giving him choices, except they're all the choices she wants made. And so Mom and Kevin have to figure out, what does choice actually mean? So that's that child's dilemma. Simon's got his trying to recover from PTSD and just live the life as a normal high school kid. Well, eventually a high school kid. He's still in junior high. And Agate is just trying to be a kid on the spectrum and live her best life. And she's so good at it. There are so many adventures in this story, mishaps, misunderstandings, the real true trauma of Simon. Erin Bow has done an excellent job of not describing the shooting at the school, but expressing how Simon is dealing with being a survivor. And this book is inspired by children survivors wherever there's been violence directed towards children. And that's something that Erin talks about in the back in terms of resources as well for kids who've had that kind of experience. So she's not trying to diminish Simon's past, but more she's trying to deal honestly with his present and eventual future in terms of how do you go forward with this in your past. So I think this brings me up to where the mic finally got turned on. The next part should be about the many assassinations of Samir the Seller of Dreams. Hopefully the two kind of join up, and we'll see what happens in the editing. 2023, so this is another 2024. Now, they don't all win. Sometimes they're honorary mentions. So this is The Many Assassinations of Samir, the Seller of Dreams, and written by Danielle Nayeri, and it's not Canadian. Okay, This is such a fun book. We have Samir, who is an orphan. He was being raised by a widow who died, who gave him to the monks, but as an orphan, he is pretty vulnerable. And he says or does something that the monks get really agitated about, and they're chasing him. And so Samir, the seller of dreams, rescues him. So he becomes the assistant or the slave, or like it's just a little bit unclear as to whether he was actually purchased or not. And so Samir is a liar. He's just such a storyteller. And Monkey, did I say Samir is the seller of dreams who rescues Monkey. Monkey's real name is Omir, but we never hear it. So as Monkey is traveling with Samir, he realizes in his sort of religious upbringing, there's no such thing as exaggeration or poetics that aren't connected to the describing of the divine. And so any shenanigans that Samir comes up with, his exaggerations and his storytellings, and outright lies sometimes, just is very upsetting for Monkey. And so he is determined that he's going to cure Samir of his lies. And he keeps interfering with the storytelling, which is part of how Samir does his trading. And so it's a problem. One person's deep honesty with another person's deep need to just fabricate stories. Gets him into a bunch of trouble, and it turns out that because of Samir's storytelling in the past in different communities, there's a whole bunch of communities that have hired assassins to get rid of Samir, and Monkey eventually thinks, oh, I'm going to have to kill him. All these assassins just keep messing it up. I'm going to have to do this myself. There's no other way but to get rid of these lies. So I'm in the middle of the book. There's been some really wonderful tales and adventures, and the artwork is really very, very nice. This is Omir, and this is Samir, and he's telling stories to people in the caravan. It's the other part of the story that's happening, is that they are in a caravan and they are traveling towards, I think, in the direction of China, but they won't get all the way there, but they are on the Silk Road. And I'm so enjoying this. It's just such great storytelling. It's a little bit like, imagine, it's sort of in the tradition of Ali Baba and the Thieves, or oh my goodness, what was the woman who told all the stories to save her life? It just went in and out of my head. Not Scheherazade. Was it Scheherazade? The myths and tales of King Arthur, or the myths and tales of Robin Hood. That sort of episodic adventure, little tight story that stays through with the characters, and you see the same people coming in and out, and they are on this actual physical journey on camels and donkeys going through the desert. So I'm about halfway through, and I was trying to rush it in order to get it finished for this video, and I thought, don't do that. This is like, it's been ages since I've actually sat down and really enjoyed a book. So these two, the one I just mentioned, and these two, the second one, really 5 out of 5 for me. I'm so thrilled. Now, I have on the horizon, not everything has shown up from the library, but this should be good to get me to the end of June. Oh, I'm sorry, that's something backing up. Moon Over Manifest, which I think I've read, Claire Vanderpool, but this was sort of on the back of my mind as something I'd like to reread. So I'm going to put it to the bottom of the pile, just, because I want to spend my time on the new books. This one is Eagle Drums by Nasugrak Rainey Hobson, and it is Pinja must travel up the mountain to collect obsidian, and when he gets to the top of the mountain, he's confronted by the eagle god, who has previously stolen Punjab's two older brothers who've also gone up to the mountain. So he's like he's got to get this stuff and still survive the trip. There's artwork in here as well. I haven't actually started reading it, so whoops, sorry. So there's artwork in here as well, and I'm not sure. Those look like little hedgehogs or something. Now, and the other one I have is The Heart of a Samurai by Margie Preus. And there we go. I believe what's happened here is another kind of, yes, 1841. There's another child without adult supervision. I don't know if he's an orphan or not. And they have been kidnapped, and they're put on a pirate ship, and their home country is Japan. And this is during the time when Japan has closed borders. So any Japanese individual who has left Japan cannot come back in. That's they would be sentenced to death, because Japan is like, we do not want westernized information. So Manjiro is traveling the high seas, visiting all over the place, and trying to figure out whether he can become a samurai. Now, I think the reason if he's a samurai, I'm not positive because I haven't read the book yet, but I believe that a samurai is sort of an individual outside of normal society, and they travel through Japan as kind of mercenary knights, but only in the pursuit of good. So I think that's how he feels he can return to Japan, is like as this other. So, and there's artwork in here too. Let's see if I can get that a little closer. Okay, so those are the ones that I have. I'm not sure what I still have to get from the library, because I was pretty sure I had put 8 books on hold. And I have a couple of books that I have to read for my other book clubs. June, in other people's booktube stories, I think it's Jane Austen. Oh no, is that Jane Austen June or Jane Austen July? Oh, I don't remember. So, but that's coming up. If you like Jane Austen, look for that. Just Google it in, and you'll get a whole bunch of people participating. June is also Joyful Reading Month. Alice from Alice's Bookshelf, I think is her name, and Jack from Spread Book Joy, and Jolene from A Bookworm Adventure Girl, and a few other people across the booktube are celebrating in honor of Alice, who passed away 12 months ago. She had created this Read for Joy in June month, and so they're doing it in her honor, but it's also just kind of building some momentum. So the idea is, don't read because you have to. Don't read because it's on your TBR and it's on your to-do list. Like, just go and get something that's really going to make you happy. That's always kind of my go-to plan. I try not to have books on my list that I really don't want to do, except for book clubs. You'd think that'd be the one spot where you were getting a book you really, really liked, but I don't know. Isn't that weird? Book clubs sometimes have got some choices that I'm just in dread of. Oh, I was telling you about that book, Where the Falcon Flies by Adam Schultz, I think. Oh my goodness, he's just the Mad Hatter on a time mission for no apparent reason, making really poor safety decisions all the way from Lake Erie right up to Newfoundland. And I've skipped Quebec. I've skipped the Great Lakes. I did read the Great Lakes. I'm skipping the St. Lawrence. I'm skipping Quebec. I'm going straight to Newfoundland, because I don't think he's slowed down for anything. Like, even when he's up in North Labrador, he encounters somebody, and this guy doesn't see anybody for like weeks on end. So he's come out in a motorboat, and Buddy's in his rowboat, and fisherman guy is like, "Hey, you want to talk?" And canoe guy's going, "No, gotta go, can't talk." So, I really don't know what he thinks he's going to miss by being in such a hurry. So I'm just reading the end chapters in order to be able to go to my book club and go, well, I kind of read it. So Anyhow, that's it for me. I'll be back with more Newberry books, middle grade books next week. And I hope all your reading dreams and adventures continue to come true. Bye bye for now.